Okay, and we're live. Sorry about that. Getting things set up here. Well, here we are with our nightcap. I'm Carlos Campos, and this is my beautiful bride, Chantel.
Hello, hello.
We're excited to be here tonight for our nightcap and kind of finalizing the day. What a busy day it was. Uh, so
Different kind of nightcap tonight.
yes, yes, we're not going to be having any consuming any alcohol tonight. Just electrolytes because we're both fasting. So, oh, I can drink yours. Oh, we can get some over there, but I have a supply of my water and electrolytes. But I'm on day 4, and Chantel started today, and she's going to go 3 days, which is perfect because I wanted to go like 7 or 8 days was kind of my target, and it's very purposeful. Yeah, I've done spiritual fasting before, but what I realized is that, and I do appreciate spiritual fasting, don't get me wrong. It is good to do spiritual fasting. I've done a few of them for 3, 5, 7, I think was my longest, 7 or 8 days. And what I did was some research. First of all, I'm going to give you some fun facts tonight. Tonight we'll talk a little bit about different things that we just came from our retreat, which was in Michigan, Howell, Michigan, and it was amazing. Super grateful for the people that came to that, the connection that we had there, the lives that were transformed, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But I want to, since I started with the fasting thing, why we're not drinking alcohol tonight for our nightcap is I during before the retreat, kind of leading up to it, I had been doing some research on fasting and the benefits from fasting, and I'll just read it to you guys because it's easier that way. Some of the stuff that I found, and then Chantel can help me with the names of it. So, because through the process of fasting is very much a lot of good health benefits. If you plug into biblical things and trainings and studies, there's a lot of studies on the biblical purposes of fasting, like spiritual, and I've done some of those. But there's also very practical and health style fasting, benefits of fasting. So the summary of some research that I did was that first 12 to 24 hours, glycogen depletion and initiation of
Autophagy.
autophagy. Sam knew she was going to help me. Autophagy, which then 24 to 48 hours, increase autophagy and early stem cell activation. And this is maybe something new that you didn't know about, that when you do fast, your body starts to create stem cells. Pretty awesome. Do you know anything about stem cells? Go check it out. So 48 to 72 hours, which is I'm past that. I'm in day 4. So yeah, 3 days, 72 hours. Yes, thanks, babe. But this is where your peak autophagy starts happening and significant stem cell activation, particularly, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Particularly in the immune system. The effects start happening there. And then 3 to 5 days is continued stem cell regeneration and immune system reset. Pretty cool. This powerful body that we have. And when I talk about fasted state, actually, specifically, scientifically, it's eating less than 50 calories a day, which if you do study on that, like you'll find there's only very few things that have less than 50 calories. Like maybe a cup of broccoli, I think is like 30 calories or something, or lettuce. If you must eat something. Yeah, the spinach, you could eat spinach, right? Or something like that. But the point is that it's amazing what our bodies will do. And so for me, on a practical sense, I saw so many 3-day fasts in the Bible, and I was like, why? I wonder why. Well, there's so much more than this. Like I am just, you know, if you guys are interested, I could do more on it, but I'm literally just like touching the surface of it because I did do a lot of.
But why are you doing it this time?
Okay, so this time it really has to do with my health and I have
goals.
my fitness goals because I want to jumpstart my goals to lose 20 more pounds. So yeah, I'm at about 270. I've been kind of fluctuating between 265 to 272, somewhere in there. So I call it 265 because that's 268 is where it really normally is.
So we'll typically, when there's a stagnant mode, right? Reaching your goals, when you feel like you're plateaued, then, doing a fast, a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour, and then the 3-day definitely kicks in the stem cell stuff. So anything beyond that is really powerful for any kind of healing that your body needs to do. But any fast in general, 24-hour, 48-hour, will kickstart, your health goals if you're on a trajectory to lose weight. So that's where we're at.
Here
Both
you
of
go.
us, actually.
So this is pretty cool. So a spinach is like only 7 calories per cup of spinach. Lettuce, 8 calories per cup. Cucumbers is 16, 14 with celery. Zucchini is 19 per cup. Okay, because I want to know if I can eat a cup of food. Right? When you're like, I just want to eat something. You feel that because look, when I do it spiritually, it's really interesting. Like, I'm just like, I'm not gonna eat anything. Like, that's no problem. But when you're doing it for your health, it's like, I wonder if there's a way I could just but I haven't done it yet. That's I haven't done it yet. But I did look it up just to see. And it's like cauliflower, there's 25 calories per cup, 19 for zucchini. I already said that. Bell peppers, 24, 18 for radishes, which is surprising because I thought it would have more. But 15, this one was my favorite because I love mushrooms. I'm like, oh my gosh, 15 calories for a cup of mushrooms?
Okay.
I thought you wanted to share something. So that made me excited because then I could do like 3 cups of mushrooms if I wanted to. Because that's the thing. They say to stay in a fasted state, not ketosis state, that's a whole different thing. We're talking an actual fasted state. You have to eat less than 50 calories a day, which again, some of times people drink juices. Look at the juice. That thing has like some of them have like 500 calories in it. It's rich with calories in the juice. So technically, if you're going to stay in a fasted state in a 24-hour period, you want to keep less than 50 calories. So broccoli has 31, bok choy 9 per cup, arugula 5 per cup, green beans 31, kale 33. So just some fun facts, right? And you can go do a research yourself. Just Google or do a search for a cup of food that's less than 50 calories because that's what I did. Anyways, just some fun facts of learning about the body and how powerful it really is. And so for me, yeah, I want to jumpstart my health goals to drop some more weight. Plus, I've been having this little rash that and I'm ready to get rid of that, which I'm ready to rejuvenate the cells with that.
Yeah. So like I said, after 3 days, start to kick in the stem cells, and that's great for any kind of healing that the body needs. Because it's true that the body can block weight loss in order to protect itself due to toxins that's being stored in fat cells. So the fast will aid in detoxifying the body. And it's powerful. So even though he's talking about, all the little, low calorie foods, fasting is definitely better when you're doing no food.
Yeah, of course.
And I think for me personally, it's about the head trip too. What if you're on a mode and you're on a mission, stick with the mission.
Yeah, because there's no doubt I felt it like if I'm gonna eat something, then I'll probably want to eat more, right? Because it kind of triggers that desire to eat more. So
especially when you ignite the taste buds and yeah.
Which I did a workout today. Today was Mondays are our workout days. We work out with a trainer and did it in a fasted state. I've never worked out that hard after being fasting for 4 days like this. It was challenging for sure. So that was a good challenge. The first round, we did 2 rounds of some vigorous exercise, and it's usually lasts for about 30 minutes straight, on average 25. Anyways,
And I'll be doing it Wednesday.
yeah, it was challenging, but I didn't die. That's the cool part. I didn't pass out even.
That was, part of the conversations that we had at the retreat. We kind of went into a topic of fasting, and it was like, if you didn't eat, would you die?
Yeah.
So, Carlos has been doing extensive research on, the extended fasts
and even the 40-day fast that Jesus did, like, come to find out when you do research that actually over the years since Jesus has done it, well, Moses did it and then Jesus, but there's been millions of people actually, not necessarily recorded, but they estimate millions of people based on the data that's out there. It's fascinating to me. It's really cool stuff. Yeah. So then you're like, oh, okay, and none of them died. That's interesting. So it is possible, and it's kind of a thing, right? There's a lot of things that happen in 40 days as well when you fast that long. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm not even saying I recommend it. I'm just saying it's fascinating to learn these things on a practical level of what Jesus did and then what others have done since Jesus and the results that they got from that. There's a lot of people that wrote books and things on their experience after fasting. So it's really good for you. That's the bottom line.
So tell us about the retreat.
The retreat. Yeah, it was super cool. Like, one of the main topics going in, I always have a theme. We have a theme. When we go in, we always ask Father, like, Papa, hey, what do you want to bring to this retreat? And his thing was home. A lot of people grow up in a house, but they don't necessarily grow up in a home. And then the clarity on what a home is has to do with, it was really cool too, because just what we talk about people and we work with a lot of clients and their struggles in what they grew up in. This was very clear through this process of understanding what a home is, and what God revealed is actually counter to what we talk about with clients, and meaning like what they experienced growing up. A lot of them haven't experienced love and affection. They didn't have good role models. And they didn't feel like they were, that's right. They didn't feel like they were seen or heard in their home, right? It wasn't a safe place. Feelings aren't
validated.
Yep. So that was our goal for this retreat, was we want to create a home for you, and we want to be good role models of what that looks like. First of all, as husband and wife, because that's our passion, is marriage mastery. And so we wanted to be a good role model of love and affection to each other and then to them. That's what I said. I want you to experience love and affection. So if you experience me giving you hugs at the retreat a lot, or if I tell you I love you a lot, like, that's because I want you to feel safe and feel like it's a home, feel that love and affection, have the role models, and then do it. You experience it and do it as well, those people at the retreat. And then I said, also, I want you to know that this is a safe place, that your voice matters, that you can be heard and can be seen while you're at this retreat. And if you feel like just letting your hair down and doing whatever you want, stay up late, go to bed early, whatever you feel like, or go to, get up early or sleep in, like, we really created a place that was more relaxed vacation, and a really powerful home atmosphere was our heart. And the feedback was phenomenal. Like, everyone, that was their top favorite thing of the retreat.
We had a few kids, so that was a huge blessing. We had 8 and 10-year-old boys, and then we had 2 baby girls, one being almost 9 months and one that was about 3 months. So
yeah, it was amazing to have children there too. So it's more of a family environment too that we created, and literally having kids there, and couples and singles and people that were just newly engaged.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of different variables there, and of course then different things to work through and different ways of connection, right? Because we worked on the 3 C's of connection, which is the confidence, communication, and commitment. and those that really help to create the home as
Mhm.
well as you do those things and implement those things. It's super powerful. So
Yeah, the other thing is, we had both singles and married couples, newlywed, a
yeah,
newlywed couple and a newly engaged couple.
yeah,
So super fun to kind of engage in such a way that really creates, their future and preparing with their mission and
that's
their
right.
vision and what's really unique about them. So that was really incredible.
Yes, powerful. And again, some of the things that I realized we creating that home, even at our retreat, the home atmosphere, right, and the ingredients that create that is what we talked about. But also one of the things today, as we had our men's call, you had your women's call, so it's good to hear
Mhm.
about those things. But it kind of ties into this because as leaders of the home, whether it's the mother or the father, leaders are some of the best leaders are servant leaders who are humble. So we talked a lot about what does it look like to be humble as a leader. Humility is more important than visibility, than being meaning like, oh, I've got to be at the center of attention as a leader, right?
Mhm.
And what's interesting is as men, we're reading through this book, The Windy Road of Excellence, and we're talking about leadership in business. However, it applies the same in a home. And being able, what does humility look like, and what does it mean? Part of what we talk about is to be able to let's do it your way. And that's what's super powerful as couples. We start to see each other's strengths, and Chantel has incredible discernment in so many situations. And more I'm flexing that muscle of, baby, let's do it your way because it is better way. But for years I'd be the one out front trying to, be heard and seen and leading. And now I'm learning how it's good to step back and do it her way. And the other part of great leaders that we were reading about today, which is same in the home, is like saying, it's my fault. I take responsibility for it. And so that was super cool to be able to talk about that as men, because even in the home, when something goes wrong, it's usually pointing the finger at your spouse, or the kids are pointing fingers at each other. What if we create an environment where we said, hey, you know what? I'll take responsibility for this. It's my fault. I could have done this better, done this better. I could have contributed. I could have helped you in this situation. I own this, right?
Mhm.
Like, think about that in a marriage, how that really would impact if more marriages, more couples would say, look, it's my fault.
Mhm.
Like that taking ownership shows true leadership. And that's what makes a good business as well, is when the leaders will take ownership when there's mistakes are made, and not saying, well, it was the employees we have, or it's their fault. Well, you trained them, like whether they did it or not. If you take ownership of it, though, it does prove that you are at a higher level of leadership. And so in those things as leaders, serving the people that you are leading, or even being humble servants, means taking action by serving them.
Mhm.
So how can you serve them? Well, part of it is asking questions. What can I do for you, or what can we do for you? Chantel and I try to do our best to ask our clients that. Like today, there was a lot of that today. What can we do for you? How can we serve you better? How can we be a blessing to you this week in mentoring you and helping you? Because all of our mentorships are really customized per the person in front of us. So we want to always ask those questions. But even when we go, I was sharing this, but when we go to do weddings and help people with their weddings, we don't just officiate or show up on the day of the wedding. We help we've helped set up many weddings, like physically getting our hands dirty. And I think then that's what makes a leader as well, as far as serving. So if you're working on leveling up in your leadership skills, I would highly recommend go get your hands dirty with, if you're an employer and you've got employees, go work with them, get in the trenches with them, find out who they are,
Mhm.
find out more about them, and then ask them, what can I do for you? How can I serve you better as a leader? You'll find some interesting things, and it's probably a lot of surprised people. So that was our men's call, which kind of ties into what we created in the home at our retreat, because there was about 16 of us, I think, total, including Chantel and I. And it was super cool to get to hang out and create this environment for several days. It was almost a week. It was about 6 days, 5 nights. But it was really amazing to be able to go through this process together and create a safe place where people can be heard, seen, loved, and have a good role model, hopefully with us. And some Jabo and Christina were there too. Miller as assistant facilitators for this retreat. It was really awesome to have them there and their baby Destiny, which again, creating that family environment. So
yes, awesome.
There's a lot. What about you? You had a lot of things going on today too.
Yeah.
Some calls and
yeah, really, it was kind of more of the same, but as far as our women's call, we really just checked in because last week we were off for Memorial Day and we were at retreat. So we just kind of, as a community, just checked in and see where everyone was at, what they've been up to. We have, a lot of people moving and transitioning, different transitions. There's a lot of transition in learning how to sort of operate in this new transition, a new season, recognizing that was one of the themes from the retreat. Carlos mentioned that we had Jabel and Christina Miller and their daughter Destiny, and she is almost 9 months old, and she's crawling around, and found the stools that we had there at the retreat home were just the right height that she could pull herself up with the bar. And so she's exercising these muscles of standing on her own, one-handed, and even, when she's in the middle of the floor, going from like that crawling position to, now putting, like kind of a downward dog, putting her feet up and getting ready to stand up. So, we expect that she's going to be walking really soon. And so it became sort of a theme, right? As we transition into, maybe we're transitioning into a new role.
That's right.
That's again, good. We have newlyweds. So as a husband, as a wife, then you have, people who are engaged, people who have new babies. What does that transition look like? Somebody who, just left their current, occupation and is now come in and transitioning into another role, right? Learning all that you need to know, like there's a transition period. So I feel like, coming off of the retreat, that's where we're at in transition.
You had said something at the retreat. It was really, I want to ask you more about it. Like, even with children, their development, how important it is for them to crawl. That can you talk about that? Because I think that's important for us as people too, that there is a process. Sometimes we want to skip to the walking or the running. Well, can I just run? And you miss so much. So in the practical sense, tell me more about that, because I overheard you talking about that a little bit.
Yeah. So developmentally, it's necessary, right? The stage of crawling is necessary for a baby. If you have an infant who, just, rolls over, and our daughter was one of them. She did not want to crawl. She did not want to crawl for the life of her. She just wanted to kind of lay there like a beached whale and, then pull herself up and like go to walk. We're like, no, we're not going to do that. So we had to like strategically place her in places where she was forced to crawl, because, studies have shown that developmentally we require that stage for development. It's in the learning process, and it is true, there is a transition where there is a transition time, and we have to make space for that. So we get so rushed as a people, we get so rushed for the outcome or the result or whatever, that we forget about how important that transition phase is and how much we learn in the process.
So good.
And that it's actually necessary. It's actually 100% necessary, and by design, that's how we are as human beings, right? That we first crawl, then walk, then run, right? And so it was, I mean, it was never more clear than at this retreat, having, we're in session, having these discussions, and little Destiny is just pulling herself up. She's ready, but I mean,
Yes.
she's crawling. She crawls, she's
She
fast, and
does.
she's just ready. And
So
our son walked at age 10 months.
yeah,
So,
but I wanna ask you this because I think this is really cool. Like breaking it down even further, we witnessed it. Like how many times Destiny stood up,
mhm.
and then at first she was shaky. She fell down a couple times. Like she was standing up and like got lost her balance and fell down and hit her head even one time. I mean, it's crazy to see how many times they actually stand up. So she's been crawling, and then you caught this really cool video of her actually trying to climb up a step. We're gonna create a reel about that because it is profound. Like we all just need to take one step at a time. And here's a baby that is representing this so well. She was standing by the step and she was trying to put her knee up a little bit. You could kind of see how she was attempting to go up one step and she never made it.
And the topic came up, when we were talking about confidence, right? So
Yes.
we don't, that was a really good example of, the fact that we don't just have confidence to do something right off the
Yeah.
bat. Like
So
that's
true.
a false expectation that we're going to be confident in, just the first thing that we try.
Yeah.
So, recognizing that it's courage that comes before the confidence. It's courage that comes, we have to muster up the courage, and how, right? Like the baby says, I want to get from, I see this kid just run by me and he got there so fast. I want to do that. And so she thinks about it, she stands up and she's like, well, he's just standing up, and right. So we learn from others, we
Yeah.
learn from what's already been done. And then, we muster up the courage to stand up, to take a step, and then we fall.
Yep.
Right. But guess
That's right.
what? We do it again because that kid's still running and getting there way faster than me. And I want that. Right. So whatever it is in life, we can look at that and say, well, somebody's done it before.
Yeah.
And if they haven't done it before, do I have the courage to blaze the trail?
That's right.
Doesn't mean it's not possible. So, again, tapping into the courage that we're born with innately. We are born with courage. And so it's the action, right, of doing the thing, whatever the thing is. It's the action of what we're doing that then, as we do it over and over again, then we access the confidence.
Which, I know you deal a lot with all your experience, 24 plus years of experience with trauma, triggers, and hurts and hangups and habits that keep people stuck and helping them to get to a triumphant place to victory. And so with your experience, like even that, it was so awesome to watch little Destiny fall down and hit her head on concrete, like hard. It wasn't pleasant. And, and then she started crying, but she got comforted. But guess what? She was back up doing it like moments later,
Right.
standing up, getting up, and wasn't afraid. But
Well,
isn't there? Yeah.
God gave us the gift to freaking get over it.
Yeah. But that's what I was going to say. As adults, though, how easily we get almost programmed.
Discouraged.
Yeah. Programmed, discouraged. And we think, well, I'm afraid. Or here's a good one. I don't have peace about it. Well, I mean, it's real. Like it must not be a God thing because God didn't give me peace. I don't have peace around this. And I'm like, you're not going to have peace. You're probably not going to have peace actually for 144 days. We recently were talking about this, that how important it is because that's the neural passageway. That is, your brain creates new neural passageways after 144 times doing the same thing over.
So that's where your habits come from. So, your habits are what you repeatedly do. Right.
And so looking at that baby was such a good example. She stood up so many times.
Yeah.
So many times. She grabbed that
and
thing.
Now she's home and she's doing the same thing all over the house. And they were like, we don't have any stools like that. It doesn't matter because she learned with that stool at the retreat. And now she's standing up and walking next to all the furniture in their house.
And she was literally like you could put your fingers and she would hold on and kind of take a little bit of a step. You can tell her feet aren't quite steady. I mean, what, 10 months old, so it's or 9 months old. And you can see her little feet are still developing on how they're going to walk and even the shape of them, right? Because she's so little still. But it's super fascinating, super real, like in real life when we face things that we've never done before. For some of you, it's marriage. Like that's what we do. And we're blazing a trail because, you know, we're helping people and teaching them how to work together. A lot of people recommend you shouldn't ever work with your spouse. Well, I say you should. You got to figure it out, because if you can figure this out here, guess what? It's really easy then
And
to
we're
figure
not
it out.
saying it's easy.
That's not easy. But if you can figure it out here, then you can figure it out with clients. You can figure it out with employees, right? So it's powerful to master this, master marriage, because it will create then the abilities and the skills, the confidence, communication skills, and commitment skills, the 3 C's of connection that are necessary to grow a business and develop a business successfully, because it takes relationships. And so this has been our journey for Chantel and I. And we do our best to be an example for people, because we know it's not easy, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible, and we've helped many other people to do the same. So we hope these, you know, these things we're doing, these nightcaps are beneficial to you. We're learning a lot in the process, and we're just processing live for you. So it's a lot of fun. But join us if you want some more of this. You can join us over on our school platform. There we have some community mentorship and some great activities for men and women and for couples. So it's on school.com, Epic Your Life, and we'd love to have you check it out. But bye for now. We'll see you next week. Have a good night.